A group of 8 high school students, 4 girls and 4 boys, met in a house to tell one another ghost stories. The night came and they decided to do a kimodameshi, a test of courage, but the main reason for doing so wasn't to test their courage, but it was that they could play the game in a boy and girl pairs. It didn't really matter where they went, so they just chose to go to their high school. Their high school building was very old. It was nearly 100 years old. In the dark, the building looked more formidable than it did during the day. The group duly split up in 4 pairs. They couldn't go inside the building, so all they did was walk around the school ground once, which would take about 20 minutes in all. The group's spirit was high and there was a lot of loud teasings as the first pair set off. 20 minutes passed, and then 30 minutes, but the pair didn't show up. Wonder what kind of things they're doing all by themselves, the second pair said jokingly as they set off into the dark, but they too did not come back. By then, the ones who were left behind were starting to feel uneasy. The third pair left, assuring the remaining 2 that as soon as they'd finished the game, they would come back on the double, and that if possible, bring all the others back with them too. However, this was not to be, since the third pair also disappeared. It had already been more than 2 hours since the first group set off. The girl of the last pair got scared and broke down in tears. Her partner said to her, "Don't worry, I'm going out there alone to find out what's happening. If I don't return in 30 minutes, go straight to the police. Don't wait for me, okay?" Then the boy ran off. He did not come back either. Even so, the girl, crying, waited for an hour before going to the police. The police accompanied her back to the school, but at first they could not tell where all the boys and girls were gone. It was when the sky was beginning to get lighter that they reached an old disused gymnasium. The police went in there and saw that the door to the lavatory was open. When they stepped inside the lavatory, they found the missing 7, all hanging by the neck from the ceiling. All of them were dead. From what the surviving girl testified, those 7 had no reason to commit suicide at all, but they could not find any evidence of murder, so in the end, the incident was dismissed as a case of mass hysteria. The curious thing is, the school was not known for any ghostly stories. This is a classic Japanese ritual for summoning a ghost called Hakumonari, meaning 100 tales. The modern version. Prepare 100 candles. You will need a group of people up to 100 in number. Sit in a circle, light all the candles and place them at the center of the circle. Make sure the room has no source of light save that of the candles. One by one, tell one another ghost stories. As each story ends, blow out 1 candle. When 100 ghost stories are told and all the candles are put out, leaving the room completely dark, a ghost will appear in the middle of the circle. The ancient version. The ritual should be done at a new moon. Prepare 3 rooms, or if that is impossible, 2 rooms will suffice, adjacent to each other. Preferably these rooms should be arranged in a way that they draw the shape L when viewed from above. The room in which the group should gather should be completely dark, the next room likewise. The third room should contain 100 andon, lanterns with a wooden flame and paper shade, and a mirror on a table. The paper which the andon is made of should be a blue in color. All participants should also be attired in blue, and all should enter the first room without carrying swords. Put away any other weapons and such dangerous objects from the room, although there were some who would adorn the room with a sword to ward off evil. When a story is told, the storyteller has to grope his way in the dark to the third room, where he is to put out 1 andon, look himself in the mirror, and return to the first room once more. The group are allowed to continue storytelling while the previous storyteller is away. The stories here do not have to be only about ghosts or monsters. They could be stories of enigma or a curse. When all the stories are told and the true darkness descends, something supernatural will happen. In reality, when they used to perform such ritual, they often stopped at the 99th story and waited until the daybreak. It was because the true purpose of the ritual was to test one's courage, and they did not want the risk of actually summoning a supernatural being. A photographer went to a snowy mountain with his assistant, having been commissioned to take pictures for a magazine article. They stayed at a log cabin, and a few days had passed when the assistant had an accident and injured himself. At that point, their work was still unfinished and they felt they could not go home unless they finished it first, so they decided to stay on the mountain. However, the injury got worse and worse until the assistant suddenly died from it a couple of days later. Even so, the photographer would not go home. He was very committed to his job, and to leave the work unfinished was unimaginable to him. He decided to bury the assistant by the cabin and continue to work on his own. The following morning, when the photographer awoke, the assistant's dead body was lying beside him. "I'm sure I buried him." He was deeply puzzled. He went and buried the body again before going off to take pictures. But the same thing happened again the following morning, and the morning after that. On his final day, he decided to set the camera to automatic mode and place it by his sleeping bag, so he could see what went on during the night. The next morning, the dead body was there beside him as he had expected. He buried it again, and then climbed down the mountain. When he got home, he developed the pictures he had taken the previous night. And there in the pictures, he saw someone get up, go out of the cabin, carry the dead body back on the shoulder, and lay it down beside his sleeping bag. And that someone was no other than the photographer himself. Once there was a family of 4. Father, mother, a son, and a daughter. The father and mother had grown cold to each other in recent years and were arguing all the time. In spite of that, the family planned to go on a holiday, but the day before the holiday began, the couple had a fierce fight again. The father this time got out of control and murdered the mother. The next morning, the father left home for the holiday with the children, as if nothing had happened. After some sightseeing, the 3 of them sat down to rest. Then the son looked quizzically at his father and asked, "Daddy, why have you been carrying Mommy piggyback all morning?" This is a true story I heard from my friend N. A very sad and painful story of what happened to Ikumi, pseudonym, whom N had been friends with since primary school. Ikumi lost her father before she entered primary school, and her mother brought her up alone, working hard day and night without rest, sacrificing everything to get her daughter into high school, even university. It wasn't long before all that hard work started taking its toll on her and she collapsed. But as soon as she got a little better, she started working again, only to collapse soon after. The same pattern repeated itself again and again until the day came when she couldn't get up at all. The mother realized that she had not long to live and gave Ikumi an amulet, saying, "I am sorry, Ikumi. From now on, you will have to survive on your own. But if one day you found life really hard and thought you couldn't go on anymore, please open this amulet." Very soon after that, the mother passed away. Ikumi cherished the amulet and never parted with it except when she took a bath. One day, Ikumi and her friends, including N, went to a public swimming pool, and when they were getting ready in the changing room, their talk turned to Ikumi's amulet. Her friends got very curious and begged Ikumi to show the content of the amulet. Ikumi at first refused, but thinking it had been a long time since her mother passed away, and maybe it was alright to take a little peek, she decided to open it. Inside the amulet there was a small folded paper. What? Is this all? Ikumi couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. She took out the paper and unfolded it. On there it said in shaking handwriting, "Ikumi, die."
Sinister V's, sinister voices. Yo. Action pack, Black Mac 10, Junior and his friend. Not a pot, the piston starving brothers on a mission. 2:30, brilliant plan around the toll booth. GW Bridge, got the weapon concealed, nothing to lose. They choose to break the rules at all costs. Stick 'em in Jersey, hit the other side to New York. Black and red leather suits and black biker boots. One got the gun, the other one controls the motorbike. Adrenaline pumping, dreams of cash. Anybody try to stop them getting lead in their face, believe that. Black pack.